So here we are with Antonio Louca. How are you doing, my friend? How's lockdown treating you?
Morgan, mate, how you getting on?
Yes,
Could be better.
it's
We're getting through it.
a bit of a delay. Yeah, so I'm surviving and stuff. How's the training going at the minute?
It's all right, to be honest. I said obviously it's all isolated, so bag work, shadow boxing. But been doing a lot of online coaching, so that's been keeping me busy, keeping some money coming in as well.
Well, this is it. Is that part of the gym? Or is that you independently?
I know it's part of the gym workout EWF, so
Shout out.
it's been good. Yeah, also stopping me from binge eating and getting fat ass.
Well, you got to live your life. So this is one thing I wanted to get into today was your weight cut. So talk to me pre-Dean Kirk era. So talk to me about your which title fight was it? Stan's fight or the one before that? Because you had a pretty grim weight cut.
Was my fight against? Actually, it was against Jake Stark. It was my bantamweight title fight. Yeah, it was that was bad. So I had to lose because I normally drop about 10 or 11 kilos for the fight. But this weight cut, man, the fight before I had with Josh Brood, that was at bantamweight as well, my first time. That went smooth, not too bad. But the second one with against Jake, I don't know what the hell happened. I literally had to cut like 5.5, 6 kilos 24 hours before the fight. And
No.
like 3.5 kilos on the day of the weigh-in. It just went terrible. Oh man, it was. I think going into it, I did the water cut and everything properly, but I think the problem was I must have had a bit too much sugar going into the week or something because I was only eating like vegetables and some fruits and like meats. But obviously, once I got Dean on board, I was asking him questions like every day, and he was like, "Yeah, that's wrong. Don't do that. That's also wrong. Don't do that." And what do you know? Worked out a lot better.
But this is so let's break that down a bit further then. So obviously when it comes to title fights there's zero allowance. So you know full well you've got to
Yeah.
be on the nose as well. So at what point did you know, okay, this is going to be a long night? And when it was a long night, what was your process to get it all off?
It was a long night because I had to weigh bang on 61 kilos, and I woke up the day before the weigh-in at 66 kilos. I was like, oh shit! And it was that point where I was like, what am I supposed to do now? Because I've done it before where I've cut like obviously 4 kilos the day before, but 6 kilos. Actually, let's go back just a bit further. My mate asked me the week of the fight, I was like, so what do you weight now? I was like, oh, it's about 68 kilos. He went, 68? It's like, you fighting on Saturday? I was like, yeah, 68's fine. And then I thought, by the time I got to the day before the weigh-in, I was like, I've only lost 2 kilos, which is still good. But now I've got all this extra weight to drop. So I was like, what to do? So I just got into the salt bath. I got my sauna suits. I bought 2 sauna suits. I sweated through both of them. I then had to dry them out and then put them back on. So I went through like 4 or 5 sauna suits in 4 or 5 baths, sweated it out, made the dumbass decision in the morning. I woke up at like 4, 5 a.m. I thought, okay, let's just go for a light jog day of the fight, weigh inside. Came back, lost zero point 0.1 ounce. I was like, oh no. And my mate was going to take me down to the weigh, and he was like, okay, I'm here in 30 minutes. I was like, oh, I got to take another salt bath. 40 minutes later, I only lost at half a kilo. I was like, uh-oh. So I just pushed him. It was supposed to pick me up at like 8:30. We ended up leaving my house about 10 a.m. And we literally got to the weigh-in 5 minutes before it finished. Bang on weight. But James said to me, because I couldn't, like, I lost so much water, I couldn't even speak. Like, I was like all dry, and I was just. And it got to a point where I was trying to give James my money, and I just couldn't count. He was like, "Mate, just go home, rehydrate, and we'll sort this out tomorrow." But it was bad, man. I was zombie.
The thing to really
So,
take
yeah.
into account is being even the lighter weight class, that amount is even
Mm.
more significant because the percentage of your body weight as well.
Yep.
That's so fucking bad. So talk to me about your
Yeah.
rehydration then. So when you did that weight cut, was that with Dean Kirk's help with the rehydration, or was that your own methodology?
This was before Dean Kirk. So, how did I rehydrate? I was drinking. Again, I had no idea what I was doing. So I was drinking like Powerade, lots of water, just trying to get as much water back into my system as I could. I didn't hydrate properly. I only put on probably a few kilos as well to top it all off. And then after that fight, like I says, I did good like this. It wasn't until the third round and my body just shut down. I was like, oh shit. Even though I still won that round. But my corner man was saying to me in between the last round, he's like, what? You're breathing really heavy. I was like, yeah, I know. It's like, that's when it happened. I just crashed in that third round. And after the fight, I spoke to you and I spoke to a few others, and you guys all recommended Dean Kirk. And I started speaking to Dean, and man, I says, he was a game changer. So I owe a lot of that fight. I feel like my last fight to his nutrition and his diet and his water cutting. But also just like the rehydration afterwards was much better. And I put on probably, I think I was fighting at about 71, 72 kilos in the fight, whereas obviously I was supposed to weigh in at 61.
Ooh, shout out Dean Kirk.
Yes, definitely. Really recommend him.
The thing I really wanted to get into as well is how were you post fight after doing that? So that kind of heavy weight cut, botched rehydration, and then what? What was your training like after that? How long did it take you to get back to normal, well, whatever normal is?
Probably a good week or two, because like I said, obviously the stomach shrinks really small. I could barely eat anything. But because the food he was giving me was all like high fiber stuff for the most part, I wasn't lagging or I didn't feel like really bad. I was eating loads of vegetables to keep the vitamins in, because that was another issue I've had before in the weight pass before, was not eating properly. And because I wasn't getting enough minerals or vitamins, I just crashed every single day. But because of the diet he had me on, it probably only took me about a week to get back to normal. And even then, it wasn't like it was forced. Because again, as you can probably tell, I've had a lot of shit weight cuts. So maybe I'm just really used to the shit one, so I felt great afterwards.
So I'm going to sort of jump around timelines a bit. So context, that fight then, and your most recent fights at 61. So
Yep.
There are some videos on YouTube of you fighting at 70. So
Yeah.
what on earth was that about?
I fought at 5 different weight classes. I fought 70 kilos, 68 kilos, 66 kilos, 63 kilos, and 61 kilos. Just working my way down the weight classes. When I first started, it was K1, and obviously they don't really do much weight cutting anyway. But I had no idea what weight cutting was, because I used to walk around about 77 kilos, 80 at one point, when I was like 19, 20. So my first few fights were at 70 kilos, and I did good, man. Like I said, because I wasn't cutting any weight, I had a lot of power. I think I was 4-1 at 70 kilos. But like I said, they're all just big boys, man. And, I was hitting them. They weren't really feeling it until, I had to outwork them. And when they got tired, that's when my hits started adding up, started landing a bit heavier. And that's worked. So like my first few fights, I just used to finish people with body shots, because I could just sneak under their elbows really easily.
So talk to me about your background in the first place then. So where did you start? How did you start?
I started off in kickboxing at EWF, so I'm still here, now coaching the classes. And it started off with, it was sort of more like at the time, it was sort of like a freestyle, sort of like karate, kickboxing sort of background. And I started watching that, and I started training it, and I got pretty good at it. But I wasn't too keen on the whole, get in, get out, get in, get out. I was more into the whole, just bite down in your mouth guard and just swing. So I started joining. After that, I also added Muay Thai into it as well, because I started watching like K1 fighters, Dutch style kickboxing. So I added that sort of style into a Muay Thai background, and it gave me the best of both worlds. It gave me some footwork to use, it gave me to move in and out with my evasiveness or whatever. And then on top of that, I could also bite down and just throw those heavy leg kicks, knees. So I just started mixing it all up together. It wasn't until I had my first loss, because I was doing a fight called Hybrid, which is basically like K1, but with takedowns.
It was like shootboxing, I think, wasn't it?
That's it, yeah. And I thought it's a shame that went under, to be honest, because I think that's the perfect way to get people into MMA. Because you're wearing the shin guards, you're wearing the thick gloves, you're getting used to people taking you down. But if you're nervous for your first few fights, so you don't have to worry too much about, getting your ass absolutely handed to you on the floor. So I remember when I did my first MMA fight, I was 8 fights after K1, and it felt like it was my first fight. So I was like, shit, so much going on. So, and then after that, I thought I wasn't doing any wrestling, but my opponent was Jeff Orgendo, and really good guy, really good fighter. And the fight before me, he put the guy into a hospital because he double-legged him. The guy fell through the ropes, and he landed on his head. Oh. And this was a kick.
God.
Yeah. So I was fighting him afterwards with no wrestling experience. I watched him. I was like, shit, what do I do now? And honestly, I was practicing bag works. I had no one to practice takedowns with. No one could to help take me down. So when I was doing bag works, I just kept doing loads and loads of spools, And like I said, I defended most of his takedowns. And even the commentators were like, what the hell's going on? He takes everyone down. And I actually went 4-on-4 with my takedowns on him. And I was like, what the hell? I can take people down. So after that, I started training in MMA and wrestling. And, well, from now, it's predominantly my style. Take people down, keep them down.
Well, this is an interesting thing as well, is the way you train with us, like sparring and things, it's very technical, it's very playful. But when you fight, you really switch it on. Where do you think that's come from, that kind of balance? Because some people are almost the reverse. They train really hard, train really aggressively. When it comes to fight day, they're quite placid. So how have you found your sort of style with that then?
Oh, that comes down to really coaching. So what happens is, the thing is, when I spar with people, so I've sparred with a lot of people who are, they're not fighters. They're probably just people who want to just do, a bit of sparring for fun. So in between do my hard rounds, I'll spar with people who are like younger than me or way less experienced. And what I do there is I just basically just hold back as much. Like I just pull my shots basically. Like if I know I can land a big shot on him, but I'll just throw it really light. But even if I'm sparring against people who are like higher level than me, I still try and show that respect. Like I'm tapping, I'm focusing on shots, I'm trying to close the distance. It's just trying to keep as relaxed as I can. Because I don't want to be one of those guys who has his best fights in the gym. The people who are getting in wars all the time are the ones who end up, developing a weak chin. They can't take leg kicks very well because it's getting battered every session. And, I was training in Leicester and there was a lot of that. Like, obviously, especially in the Muay Thai, everyone was just trying to kill each other. Whereas, I was sort of like, again, just using my footwork, bobbing in, bobbing out, just tapping. I got it a lot from watching Nicky Hodgkin as well, using broken rhythm striking. So that was something I use a lot as well. So, just tap them up a little bit. And then when they start getting tired, boom, sit on that punch a little bit, sit on that leg kick a little bit. So
that's filthy leather shots as well.
Yeah, I love a good body shot.
Yeah, grim.
I won my first fight I won by it. And the picture looks like his body just imploding on the inside. It was just, boom, nasty.
So, regards of competition, something I sort of want to get onto is dealing with, I don't know, an upset. So, say like your fight with Stan, for example. Like, obviously, being champ at that point, you go to fight Stan, and then the fight gets stopped because of a cut, which really, I don't know, is a questionable cut in itself. How did you feel after that fight?
I wasn't. It's a tricky one because I know if any cut above the eye, and if blood goes into the eye, which it was going into I knew the fight was going to get stopped. Like if you watch the fight or you see the pictures, Stan actually has me in a Kimura, and I'm talking to Paul Nichols the whole time. Like I'm not phased about the Kimura. I'm like, no, I'm good, Paul. Don't stop the fight. Because when I had one of my first losses in MMA, I got choked out. Like I was being a stubborn person. I wasn't tapping out, and it was the same referee, Paul Nichols, and I was looking at him as in say, don't stop the fight. So he knew I was stubborn. And then I was basically just like talking to him the whole time. Like, I'm good. It's just a cut. So to his credit, he let me fight to the end of the round. But as soon as we stood up and it just started just dropping down my face, it was like, nah. But how I felt was I was annoyed at the time. But, especially after watching, like, let's say Dominic Cruz on the weekend, like he's like talking shit about referees and stuff like that. It's just one of those situations where, especially watching a lot of kickboxing, I've seen fights ended with cuts even smaller because that's just how it goes. It sucks. I felt like, because I dropped, I like Stan, he's a good guy, but I dropped him that second round with a liver kick, and I knew that going into the third round, that body was ready for one more shot. Like he won the first round, I dropped him in the second, and I felt like, okay, I threw a sloppy takedown, and he went for a double underhook, and his elbows just accidentally sliced me on the way down, so took him down. Next thing I know, just a pool of blood on top of him. I was like, fuck. But yeah, it was annoying, especially being at the A&E till like fucking 5 a.m. But no, it's just one of those things, man. Like you can't control those sort of stuff.
Well, this is what's interesting about your sort of, I don't know, you always come across quite level-headed with everything, not overly emotionally invested in whatever sort of, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's how you feel or it's how you come across or whatever it is, but kind of composure. And the thing with the stand fight, it's such a shame we didn't carry on because it's such an even fight in itself. And the thing is, I'm sparred with both of you. I'm a fan of both of you. And the fact you guys were as even as that was just great to watch. Like, as much as, you know, I love my biases and my preferences, I just enjoyed watching it. And it's a shame. I want to see that running back, to be fair. But again, that's a conversation for another day. But no, the way you dealt with that, because it's almost interesting having that air of invincibility, I want to say, when you're the champ, to then, when it comes up short, to then, I don't know, how was your camp after that? Did you feel that was an issue going in? Like, be mindful of getting cut, or is it just, you know, in the back of your head?
Like I said, it was just a case of once my cut healed up, I was starting to wear a bit more head guard. I started wearing my head guard for a bit. But after that loss, it was good because... So your notification just came in. It was good, though, because after that, I actually started training at BST a lot more. And I started doing... I don't think that's when I started doing PTs with Jordan, actually. I think that was after my fight with Josh. But, you know, I started training at BST a lot more. Started doing more jiu-jitsu with Ray. Started, you know, trying to get some more sessions in with you boys. And... even though I lost, like I says, I spoke to Stan quite a few times after the fight. He was like, "Oh no, come down, meet me at the PST. We'll do some training, one-to-one training or whatever." Because that's one thing I always have with people I fight. Like, I'll message them, you know, we'll chat, have a good laugh or whatever. And if it's someone who I feel like I had a really good fight with, I'm like, well, let's do some training. You know, you will get better. I will definitely get better. So after that loss, it was good. It made me realise I need to step up my training a bit more. So. Yeah, I think it all depends on like how you take a loss. Like if you take a loss and you moan about it and you get upset about it, you know, you're not, or you know, you blame other people, you won't get better from it. But if you stay away after the loss, you just say, okay, I lost. You know, he was the better fighter. What can I do to get better? And then just focus on the next fight.
So, with that in itself, how did you find sparring with Stan after that? So, for your first time at BST, talk to me about that, as in like. I don't know, your first session at BST post-fight with Stan. Yeah.
It was good, actually. I was really looking forward to it. I thought, you know, obviously when you fight someone, it can either go two ways. You can either beat the shit out of each other, which isn't going to help anyone, or, you know, you can just go in there, smile, tap gloves, and we had a technical spot. Now, we did hit each other with some, you know, good little shots. I think he caught me with a spin back fist and I caught him with a good head kick. And, you know, but after the round, like, we were sort of helping each other out. Like, he asked me he wanted to practice a drill with me, like how to take the back from slipping across. And I was like, okay, but, you know, I said to him, you're a little too far away. So, you know, try to close the distance a bit more when chest to body. And, you know, we started helping each other out. He helped me out with a bit more with some wrestling drills. So, I feel like, you know, you can learn something from everyone, you know. So I wanted to learn a few more stuff off him because, you know, he has got some good wrestling. He's good at putting people on the back foot. You know, he uses his strength well in that sense. So I wanted to learn some of that off him. But at the same time, I wanted to then practice some strikes on him because I felt that in the fight, he had some good little heavy hands.
Well, he certainly has that. And I suppose it comes to know that. I don't have to question that as more than a...
Yeah.
It's horrible. But there's a few things.
But he's a good guy.
Delay, you go.
You know, I was going to say, he's a good guy, and I said, I'm happy to train with anyone I've had a fight with. I've had a few people actually even ask me, I've had fights for, say, oh, come down and train with us. So the fact I can train with him and a few others. So I remember even Joshua Brew was talking about wanting to come down and do some training, so I thought that was interesting.
I mean, that's always
good. Sparring with both of them.
Well, this is where it gets interesting when you've had a fight with someone and then you can go to train with them. Because it gets very, I don't know, the undertones a little bit of, okay, you won that one, but what happens if we get another go at it? And it's a bit of like, I don't know, because as much as you want to be like, you know, sportsmanlike and, you know, there's still that bit of, there's a bit of sting still, if you see what I mean. It's a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah. It was actually like, also with people you've not fought, but you know you're in the same bracket. Like like for example, Nadu. Nadu's a great guy. I always get on really well with him. You know, we'll like each other's shit or whatever on Instagram, or you know, we always have a good conversation if we talk to each other. But you know, it's the same thing. Like when you're in the cage, it's sort of that sense of like, okay, well, I don't want him to beat the shit out of me. and he's thinking obviously he doesn't want me to beat the shit out of him. So you have that extra intensity behind it, like you sit on your punches a little bit more, or you really go for those takedowns a bit heavier. But when it's all said and done, you shake hands, you laugh about it, and hopefully get better from it.
Very well
there's a
thought
few
out
boys
answers.
there.
I like it. Very democratic. What do you call it? Diplomatic. That's the one.
Yeah.
Covering your bases.
Yeah, I thought these things through.
You got your notes. So,
But it's like that if I shit. Yeah, where's my monitor?
So your girlfriend
But
instead
it's
just
like
sort of
that
shouting out
pressure
orders at you, making sure you're staying in the lines, making sure you're not pissing anyone off.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, cue cards. Don't say that. But it's like, especially at BST, because there's loads of monsters there, man. And the thing is, a lot of them are around my weight class, so it's good to have that experience with them.
Which weight class?
I wouldn't.
It's 5.
Yeah. But yeah, especially like the Sunday sessions we do, because that's really good. And obviously, thanks for inviting me down to those.
More than welcome.
Yeah, and like I said, sparring with some of the pros as well, like Tom Creasy, Sam Creasy. It was really good, especially to feel that difference in level. I remember when I went against I think it was Tom, and I was just like, okay, most people, if I want to take him down, they go down, but I just couldn't get his legs, and he was taking me down. And I was like, what the fuck's going on?
The thing is, what I've really found, with training with the pro guys, is it's literally another level to the amateurs, because it's a different kind of, I don't know, everyone's different in their own right. There's always that air of patience and the air of composure, which is so horrible to deal with. Of like, you haven't got the nervous energy, and they're just that much more. I don't know. It's like, like I said, training with Tom Creasy, it's horrible. I hate it because he's so nice and he's so composed, and without any effort, he can beat the shit out of you. Same with Sam, same with George, same with all these guys. They're just so like composed when they do it as well, and it's so like clinical, and they can be nice, they can go in, do what they want to do, and you're just like, I want to go as far as the beginners. I don't like this. Just go crying off.
Yeah. But I know what you're saying. It's that sense like they'll stand in front of you and they're not doing anything, and it's like you're almost biting. Like, well, what do I do? Am I going to hit you now, or it's like, and you think, well, if I step too far, this is going to happen. Yeah. But it like I say, it's really good to get that experience in there and just get those high level guys just to kick your ass a little bit.
That's what we're here for. A few things I wanted to sort of go over as well. Because of the number of fights you've had, have you developed any kind of fight day kind of routine, a sort of tick list you have to try and keep yourself in the right mindset or anything like that? Because obviously when you become higher up in the card, it's longer hanging around, longer time to get in your own head with stuff.
Oh, God. Oh, definitely. There's times where I won't fight till like 11 o'clock, and I've been there since 11 a.m. in the morning. What I do is I take a lot of naps during the day of fight day. So like you might see me like lying on the floor or asleep on a chair or something like that. Because when I fight, I try and keep level-headed, so that way I don't fight with emotion and just like, I mean, I have to put it on obviously, but I feel like if I get angry, that's when I make mistakes. And if I get angry, then maybe my takedowns aren't gonna be very clean. I go with aggression. So during the day, I have small meals. I always almost fail my medical quite a lot, which is really weird, but I reckon that's just nerves. But yeah, like mostly napping. I might read a book or something in between. And then like an hour before training, before the fight, I'll just slowly start to warm up, do a bit of light, walk around a little bit with my music on, do some light shadow boxing. And then I'll just basically go over like worst case scenarios. I say, okay, this guy's got my back. What am I going to do? I say, I miss a takedown. What am I going to do? I can't find my range, blah, blah, blah. So I work on things like worst case scenario first, and then I start working on, okay, now here's what I'm going to do. Okay, he does this, I do that. I get out of this position, I'm going to take him down like that. Go through stuff like that. I don't go too hard in my warm-ups. Like you see some people, they're doing like 10 3-minute rounds on the pads, or, they're doing like 5 minutes of wrestling or scrambling. I'm always there like, shit, am I doing enough? I'm just like really relaxed about it.
And this is really what I wanted to get into also, as well. Sorry, carry on. I didn't realize you finished.
That's all right. I was just want to ramble about something. Yeah, sorry, it wasn't much. What was you going to say?
That's all right. I was going to say I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, again, that whole kind of transition between being composed and then switching it on. With that switching on kind of thing, where's that come from? You said earlier in your sort of training, your coaching, but where have you learnt to switch it on? Because you were telling about the composure and the training in the sense of, playing around, training smart. But how did you learn to, I don't know, was there any kind of things you've done to really learn to switch it on?
Like the switch?
Yeah.
I've tried. I think a big key of it is experience. I mean, I've had 16 amateur fights now total, and I've played with a bunch of different things. I've tried going in there angry. I've tried going in there relaxed, sometimes too relaxed, or I try getting there excited. I find the best thing to do is when I'm in there, I take it in. Like I'll be like very like sheepish. I think at the start of the round, before I call my name out, like I won't look at the cameraman. I won't look at the guy calling my name. And it's just like psyching myself. I'm just thinking, okay, it's go time. Everyone's watching now. I've been working my ass off for this for months, and it's time just, turn it up. So I think it's just that competition side just kicks in. It's like, okay, we're not playing now. This is serious. And this guy's trying to take my head off. I got to try and take his. And like I said, I think it's just a case of just switching off, ignoring everything. I always say when I fight, there's no one else there. There's no one else in the arena. There's no referee there. It's just me and him. And, basically, whoever loses isn't walking away. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's just a natural competition thing. I've seen it quite a lot as well. Like, I heard like Daniel Cormier was saying about stuff like that before. He was saying like, you've got to have that mentality where you can just switch. It's good to be the happy guy. It's good to be the good guy, help people out. But, when it comes to business, you just got to go to that killer's instinct and just switch, and I think it happens quite a lot as well, especially with the high-level guys like Henry Cejudo as well. Cringe king. But before the fight, he's huffing, yeah. And, he's just a completely different guy. So I think that's just a case of his, I can't fight that way. I can't fight with I do fight with a smile on my face, but you can't fight, laughing and joking. It's just, kill time.
Well, certainly an issue I found is trying to that transition in myself in the own training and that, trying to find that composure. Because when it comes to actual sparring, cardio for days, no problem. But when you get that kind of adrenaline, that kind of heightened moment, that's why I tend to find your gas and everything else. But again, it's interesting the way you can switch on whilst retaining that same composure in the same way. So it's not just you've still got the same style, but the venom's there. If you see what I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's it. I think, what you said there about the adrenaline, the adrenaline dumps is what you're saying, just before you get in, oh shit, you're breathing really heavy. I think a big thing for that is I always say the worst part about the fight is just before your entrance, and I think that can make or break your fight because that's where you've really got to be I'm shaking now. I'm just thinking about. I'm getting worked up just thinking about walking to the cage, but that's how much it gets me. People say to me, I'm just stoned. I'm dead. I'm just circling back and forth. I'm not listening to anyone. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm in my own head, and just shaking even now just talking about it. And I'm just controlling myself and trying to slow my heart rate down as much as I can. Deep breathing, and that's when I just start focusing on my opponent. What do I want to do here? And I think as well, a big key is experiencing a loss. So I think to myself, I've worked my ass off for 8, 12 weeks. I know what a loss feels like. I don't want to go out there and lose. So, you just think about worst case scenario and then you just turn it off and just think, fuck the adrenaline dump. Just go out there, perform to your best.
So that is an interesting point as well with dealing with that loss and then dealing with the feeling of it. What does a loss mean to you? What does that... When you lose a fight, how does that make you feel, and why does it make you feel that, do you think?
Well, the worst sort of loss you can have is when you get finished in the first round, and it's straight away. My first loss in MMA, I went against this guy who turned out to give a fake name, basically he was someone who he wasn't. It turned out he'd been fighting since 2011. It was the guy in the Do fought as well. So I think we all know what happened there. But I went against the guy, and within about 30 seconds, he choked me out. And that was devastating. I took that one really hard. But when I got back home, I thought about it, and I was like, well, I'm still alive. And and I got some really good experience, even though it was only 30 seconds or so. But now I know how to deal with a loss. And after that, it was just a case of, okay, I just need to keep working harder, take my training more seriously. The way I look at it is, if I've lost, then maybe I need to do something different, But that's why now my style is a lot more aggressive, with some more wrestling in there. Like, I'm not just trying to stand and bang with people and just, hope for the best.
Let me bang,
bro. I'm honest with myself. Yeah. I'm honest with myself. I look at someone, if I'm like, okay, this guy's got better striking than me, am I going to go out there and try and knock him out? Probably not the smartest object in the world. Or if this guy's got better jiu-jitsu than me, I'm not going to take him down. So I think that's important as well, like being honest with yourself, and be able to admit to yourself that maybe this guy's better in certain areas. You're not invincible. You're not going to completely destroy this guy. If you don't take him seriously, the guy's going to destroy you. So I think it's important to be honest with yourself, be honest with your skills, look at his strengths, look at his weaknesses, and then work from there. So that's how I deal with a loss.
Do you feel an added pressure being a coach on top of everything else to then perform to a certain standard?
No, I know what you're saying, because I've had some people say it to me before, like they'll compliment you when you win, and then when you lose the fight, they'll be like, oh, well, did you, you get a bit of a different tone, like they talk back to you. But I don't think so. I feel like that puts excess pressure on myself, and I don't want to put that sort of pressure on myself. It's like, at the end of the day, I love fighting, but it's for me. I'm not trying to big up my name. I'm not trying to sell business or something. If I win, great. If I lose, it happens. I feel like if you start putting excess pressure on yourself, like, okay, this person wants me to win, well, that person needs me to win. It's not going to be well. It's also one of the reasons why even after 16 fights, I've not really had any sponsorships, because at the moment in time, I'm not looking for that extra pressure. Like, oh, well, if I lose, are they going to basically disown me? So I don't know. I just try not to take other people's responsibility on when I'm fighting.
Well, this is it. I mean, I'm not trying to I'm not. I'm only really asking these things to see if it already crossed your mind in the first place. So,
yeah.
Again, it's not trying to put words in your mouth or anything.
Oh, you're good, man.
Good stuff. Most important question of the podcast is, where can people find you, mate?
On Instagram, Way of a Warrior. Yeah. On Instagram, it's Way of a Warrior, and on Facebook, it's just Antonio Louca. I mostly only really post fight-related stuff anyway, so if you're looking for training clips or fight highlight videos, I love to post those fight highlight videos. Or just, my opinion on certain fights, or, who's going to win or whatever, then, definitely go to my Instagram, because that's 100% just fight-related stuff. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty easy to get in contact with as well. If anyone wants to talk to me about anything, just drop me a message. Especially now, I'm not really doing anything.
Regards of your online training, online coaching stuff, where can people find that?
Oh, that's a bit tricky. That's going to be a case of you're going to have to get into contact with EWF. So whether it be through a Facebook or whether through the business page, they're pretty easy to get in contact to. You'll speak to one of the admins and they'll sort everything out for you. And yeah, it's pretty simple. Then you'll be logged into a Zoom account or Facebook Live, and then I'll do the training session with you there.
Thank you for listening, guys. And this episode has been sponsored by Mauler MMA. Use code FCMMA20 at checkout on maulermma.com for 20% off on all products.